Ready to live at the higher vibrations, where peace, love, joy, and good health are the daily standard? That's what this show is all about. Welcome to Vibe. And here's your host, Robyn Openshaw.
The dose makes the poison. I'm Robyn Openshaw. I'm the Green Smoothie Girl online. And I want to talk to you about how the dose makes the poison is an outdated concept and it's got to go. You've read this your whole life. It's meant to indoctrinate you that poison in small amounts is medicine. When is it medicine? The cyanide in vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin? It's not medicinal, even if it's just trace amounts that end up in each pill you might take daily. The coal tar derived vitamin K, it's not a vitamin. Poison isn't a medicine, even if it's in a small enough dose. Perhaps this saying, the dose makes the poison, which sounds true or helpful, but isn't, help doctors explain to patients why troubling ingredients are often in their drugs. Equally true of supplements, by the way, which virtually always have flow agents, unless they're in a pressed pill, in which case they usually have shellacs or plastics, and virtually always involve petrochemical solvents and many other toxic chemicals and base materials that are generally the throwaway products of countless industries, passed off to you as magical health-giving pills. My co-author and I are working hard every day to get the book published in 2025. So if the toxic substance is just a small amount, it's no big deal, right? What if our exposure to toxins is cumulative? It reminds me of how when I opt out of the backscatter machine at the airport when I go through security, TSA agents will tell me, you get less radiation from that machine than from 15 minutes in the sun. Not only is that not true, and something their superiors likely told them to say, but it also ignores the fact that exposures to radiation are cumulative. Like, I didn't get the wrinkles on my 58-year-old skin from just one sunburn. I got them from hundreds of sunburns. I'm a fan of exposure to the sun, by the way, as people throughout history have been in the sun. It's good for your hormone system. It's good for your eyes and much more. I consider the aging of the skin to be part of growing older, and I don't panic about aging or the lines on my forehead or the laugh lines around my eyes. I think they're fun and proof of how much laughing and smiling I've done. I'm a little less enthusiastic about the frown lines, but that's part of the human experience as well. So I don't chase the anti-aging products with all their associated plastics and solvents and toxins. I research them and I find this stuff in them. Even oils, they're rancid and in the supply chain a long time by the time you use them, especially the bigger the company is. So I use them sparingly. At least castor oil is a really thick oil that goes rancid more slowly. So marketers know that you can sell most 50-plus-year-old affluent women if you tell them a great story about it slowing aging. You can sell them just about anything. I saw an ad for a Shark Tank funded product recently of a plastic stick-on for your forehead and for other parts of your face to physically freeze it while you sleep at night. I guess if we're going to freeze our face, that's better than injecting neurotoxins. So a small dose of poison isn't medicinal and it's not safe. It's just going to harm you slower than a large dose. And if the body cannot digest, assimilate, and eliminate it well, and the body is not built to eliminate the level of chemical toxins that we ingest and are absorbing through our skin, then the effect can be cumulative. And as with the popular rain barrel metaphor, you can keep filling it up with rainwater. Everything's fine until it's full, and then it's going to tip over. And I know all about that metaphor from my own personal life, having hit the tipping point or the tipping over point for my own health with a flu vaccine working at a hospital in graduate school. And when I tipped over, I was lying on my side for 4 years. That was a long time to consider whether each small exposure was really all that small or whether I'd accumulated toxicity from years and years of disregard for my health, taking it for granted until I couldn't anymore. What a great, important moment that was. I remember it clearly. The day that I took responsibility for my own health and my family's health, driving home in the rain with my 1-year-old in a car seat behind me, having been told by the pediatrician, you've had the magic bullet. It's liquid steroids. 5 times. All we have for you is more of the same. And that is the day, crying all the way home, I realized I have to take charge of my health and my family's health today, now. I stopped at a health food store, my sick baby in his car seat in the cart, wandering around, looking at things, starting to try to learn, totally overwhelmed, also totally motivated. He was really sick and I was too. Some days I wouldn't have even been capable of that trip to the doctor's office or the health food store. And then I became interested and then borderline obsessed with what our alternative doctors of the past did to help people like me, the people who had tipped over and needed to detoxify. And thus my career was born, where I've now spent well over 10,000 hours studying what works and also what doesn't to help human beings detoxify. You know what doesn't help human health? This idea that poisons are fine as long as we're taking them in small amounts. Let alone the insidious idea that if it's a small amount, it might even be medicinal and useful. Show me a poison posing as medicine, and I will show you an alternative. For decades, people have taken niacin, which is known as vitamin B5 falsely, which is actually chemical niacinamide, a toxic poison known to make your face and neck flush, and you may sweat heavily, and you may even throw up. And you are told that you should do this to detoxify, when in fact, you're poisoning yourself. And the automatic miraculous reaction of your body is to save you from the poison you've ingested by causing you to sweat heavily and feel sick and throw up. This does not make the toxic substance a vitamin or a medicine. Yes, it did make you detoxify. That is true. But what marketers leave out is that it poisoned you in the first place to force your body to detoxify. Several years ago, a young couple recruited me and John to a ceremony wherein we'd all be injected with toxic frog venom together. And we'd all sit around and throw up. We would each have our own bucket and we would be purging, they put it, as well as be under the influence of a psychoactive component to the frog venom to achieve higher enlightenment together, discussing things we normally wouldn't if not under the influence of the hallucinogenic. We didn't do it, so that's all I have to say about it. I'm just saying we're sold many toxic products, some with effects we notice, so that we immediately jump to the conclusion that it's working, and most with no noticeable effect at all, that we hope is addressing some deficiency. Did you also purge other bad stuff that needed to come out, sweating and throwing up after a quote unquote niacin flush? Maybe, but this is a weak argument. You can also open up your pores and sweat regularly with an inexpensive sauna in your home. We have a great sauna deal going on right now. If you're hearing this in March of 2025, we'll put a link down below and use coupon code GSG200. If you're hearing this outside the promotion window, you can still get $100 off with GSG100. And you can detoxify twice a year with us. That's what John and I do. That's how I've kept my health strong for half my life now. And I've helped over 20,000 people do it over the last 11 years. It's safe. We don't poison you to create the illusion via violent means of a detoxification. We work with the body's natural processes to open up elimination channels to eliminate faster and more effectively, but also safely, but also get rid of some toxic buildup that may have been there for years or even decades. You can watch my video about my 25 years of research into human detoxification below. Meanwhile, I think people have gotten smarter, and especially after we all watched the toxic injections that 80% of the world got in 2021 and beyond, we watched it backfire, involving millions of injuries and deaths. We're smart enough to question the idea that we have to poison ourselves to be healthy. While the dose makes the poison is tempting and clever, and it's used by many, I think we're ready for it to go in the dustbin of history. And I'll see you next time.